Is it working? Are we on? Are we on? Is this thing on?
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, all right, hey, everybody, welcome.
Test.
All right, we're good. So, welcome everybody to this month's or week's. What are we under? This is like the 15th installment of a cause-driven conversation.
Man, if you say it's the 15th, brother, it's the 15th.
I don't even think that's right. But anyway, we'd like to welcome you all out there. We hope you have enjoyed our videos up until this point. We've got a really exciting show for you today. We're very excited. I can't even sit still. Sorry. So we for those of you that don't know, first of all, welcome to Cause-Driven Conversations. This is an opportunity for myself, Carson Henry, Executive Director over at Youth and Family Services in Washington, D.C., and my co-host,
Andre Anthony, out in Rock River Valley, YMCA, out in Rockford, Illinois.
And for those of you that this is your first time, Cause-Driven Conversations is an opportunity. Andre and I were having a conversation a couple years ago, and we thought that we'd come into contact with some really cool people across the Y as a whole. And we thought these people would be really cool. It would be really good to connect them with emerging leaders from across the country, YMCA professionals, give you an opportunity of who's out there, what they're doing, what kind of cool things are out there, and then also, you know, just a chance for us to hang out and have conversations with really cool people that we like. So today we've got a super awesome person. She's got tons of energy, and I'm setting the bar really high because I know she's gonna like go flying past it. And so, Shay, we want to say welcome to you to our show. We want to ask you a question. So we do this for everybody. When you introduce yourself, we know you can do the you know, this is my title, this is my position, but tell us who you really are. Tell us what you do, what you really do at work, and you know, what brought you to the Y.
So my name is Sha Foland, and I'm the Association Executive Director of Membership and Wellness here at the YMCA of Greater Omaha. And I love the intentionality of infusing living our cause into these cause-driven conversations. So what I really do is, locally and nationally, create strategy, connect the dots, whether that be from staff to staff, staff to member, staff to community. And I think you already shared, like, bring a lot of enthusiasm into my role and the work that we do. So also help to support just maintaining that and encouraging young leaders from across the movement to keep their sparks alive.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you for joining us. And one of the things we always do is we do a quick check-in. We try to illustrate that our conversations aren't happening where we're all in the same place. They're happening across the country because the Y is, of course, an international organization. So I am currently located, for like maybe the first time ever, at my desk. Andre, where are you at?
Rockford, Illinois, baby. Rockford, Illinois.
And Shay, we hear the word Omaha. Like, for those of us that watch football, we know, you know, the Manning guy, he made that place popular. But where exactly is that for those people that live on the coast and don't really know where that is?
Somewhere in Middle America, in Nebraska, in the Midwest. You've heard the song?
Please don't.
Omaha.
Oh, all right.
Girl, don't do it to me. Don't do it to me.
All right, Andre.
So Shay,
anytime.
Besides getting to hang out with cool people like me and Carson, what is your greatest joy in your position? And when you talk about being a leader in the Y movement, what do you love the most about that?
Yeah, I would say my greatest joy, if I had to narrow it down, would be seeing the aha moments happen for staff. Most recently, I was teaching a training and I saw the staff connect the dots on, oh my gosh, my listen first skills translate outside of this training and are benefiting my personal relationship at home. Like, whoa, these skills are translatable outside of the Y. So whether it be, this is what we really do, from the impact that we create and seeing those shifts happen in the staff across the Y, I'd say that's definitely one of my many favorite parts.
Good answer. I'm gonna have a Family Feud moment right now. Good answer, good answer.
Yeah, meanwhile, what she basically said was that use listen first and you won't have family feuds.
Oh.
So what I'm hearing you say is that.
All right, so Dave, like you said, we really appreciate you being here. And we, you know, I guess it was this year, we decided to take a more intentional strategy to who we were interviewing and why we were interviewing them. And so you've gotten selected for a very specific reason. Will you tell us a little bit more about the ERG that you currently lead and some cool stuff that you guys are doing for, you know, emerging leaders or people that you serve?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I have the honor of serving as the chair for the Emerging Leaders Resource Network. So for those of you that aren't very familiar with our work, we are supporting over 4,000 members from across the movement. And our target audience is really young leaders in a nutshell, but we really serve all, just like the other 5 ERGs have a much broader network than that initial diverse in the membership base. And so what Emerging Leaders Resource Network is really focused on is cultivating a diverse group of those emerging leaders to ensure the sustainability and the success of our movement. So we know that millennials are the largest demographic making up the workforce right now. And we also know, in looking at some at some data, that the YMCA has less leaders, we'll say even under 40 years old now, than it did 10 years ago. And so how do we ensure that we are and equipping our young leaders, whether it be young in age or young in tenure at the YMCA, to to continue to ensure the success of our movement? So a couple of key things that we're focusing on right now. One that we're most known for is our Touchpoint Tuesday newsletter. So raise your hand if you get the Touchpoint Tuesday newsletter. Filled newsletters every Tuesday that can highlight competencies and real life stories and lift up some bright spots from across the movement that are happening and to help support emerging leaders in developing. We also have a virtual professional development program, Go Live, so Leaders Invested in Virtual Education, where we've partnered with YMCA of the USA to talk about leadership competency assessments and what's that professional development plan that you're creating to ensure that you're intentionally focusing on what's next in the why, as well as building a bridge with local Emerging Leaders Resource Network chapters that are starting to be created from across the movement, and many more things.
including, don't bury the lead,
including cause-driven conversations. Exactly.
I cannot believe I just raised the roof twice. You two are back.
In one conversation.
And one last thing.
By the way, Shay, what was the name of that what did the Go Live thing stand for? Because that was a fantastic name, by the way. I don't know who created that, but that's a fantastic name.
Well, Leaders Invested in Virtual Education. So it's amazing what happens when you get leaders into a room, out from in front of their desks, and into a creative session where ideas can flow. We're not buried in our phones, and incredible ideas like this one emerge.
See what she did there? You see what she did there? The emerge. You did the emerge.
So there was the emerged, and she gave me a perfect segue to my next question. So, I mean, Shay, right now, you're rocking it. You're killing it, girl. You go ahead. Go on with your bad self. So that's a perfect segue when she talks about stepping away from behind your desk and engaging, right? So at the Y, we do truly believe that matters. And Shay, I guess what I would love you to, I would love for you to speak on that a little more in terms of why does such a peer community like the one you described, the one that led to the coining of the phrase "Go Live" and all of that. Why does such a peer community in your workplace matter to your career, and why do you value it so much?
Sure. Well, I think it's easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day tasks that have to happen and to lose track of the transformation that's happening as a result of that. And so for me, speaking for myself, when I think of the peer-to-peer network, I mean, we're in 119 countries. And so we really do have a broad network of folks. We're not in this alone. Sometimes, you might get frustrated with something that's happening locally, but just to be able to reach out and to have open and honest conversations with colleagues from across the movement that you trust, I think some of the other intangibles that come from that are idea sharing. We don't have to always recreate the wheel. So, you know, how can you reignite that spark and share resources? Like, why are we hoarding things that are going really well? Like, spread the love, right? So I think just reaching out from that perspective. And gosh, I would just say that the friendships that happen as a result as well. I mean, the YMCA attracts people that are genuine, and we have that common thread of the YMCA. And so I think at the end of the day that the people that you get to connect with through this work also oftentimes become lifelong friends. Primary examples right here in this cause-driven conversation. So.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Virtual hug? No? Okay. All right.
People are gonna like fast forward through this part because we're so mushy.
Don't fast forward through this part. This is part of what makes the Y great.
Caring. This moment brought to you by Caring.
Core value of the
All right. Next. So Shay, one of the things we always talk to people about is we like to, you know, we want to know what you're doing. We want to know what people can connect to. But, you know, we also kind of want to give some guidance or some tutelage or some training to those folks out there watching. So when the man got you down and you're just tired of emerging or leading the emerging or being emerged or merging or whatever stage of emergence you might be on, and you need inspiration.
I'm following.
And you need inspiration. What do you do?
Well, a couple things that I usually fall back on, and I think it's safe to acknowledge that no matter how passionate you are about the work that you do, that we're also human, and sometimes we do get to that place, right? So I think I, first of all, find that I get to that place less if I'm practicing self-care. So just keeping self-care at the top, and that can look different for everyone. For me, self-care is making sure that I'm getting in my workouts, you know, or am I drinking enough water, or actually disconnecting occasionally, you know, so just really practicing self-care, whatever that looks like. I would say second thing that I've really gotten into is listening to TED Talks. There are some amazing TED Talks, right? And so, you know, it's very easy to say, I don't have time. You know, we all have the same amount of time. So how can you do that on a commute? Or for me, when I'm getting ready at home, I can put on a TED Talk and on something that I'm interested in, passionate about, or something that I just want to learn more about. And so just having even if I can't always see it because I'm driving safely, to at least have the verbal aspect of it to be able to listen to for a little inspiration. But I would say thirdly is just reaching out to a colleague, you know, not necessarily like right here, but who's someone else that's doing maybe similar or totally different work in another part of the United States, and how can you just have even a simple conversation is just like the zest of energy that I need to continue on. Those are my three go-tos.
Good answer. Good answer. All right. So I think we've been asking you a whole lot of questions right now. Is there a question that you'd like to ask the young leaders in the movement? The floor is open. You know, be nice.
Door is open. So
it's funny you had to say be nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm always curious what it is that really makes the emerging leaders and people from across the movement come alive. What it is that is just like your spark. So you maybe heard in some of the Living Our Cause trainings, like when we talk about what would your staff say that you value as a YMCA staff person. Hopefully it's in alignment with what you actually value, but what's that perception that people have on what they think that you value, and how are you truly showing up at work? So that was a really long statement / question. I'll come back to like the summarized question for that, but I saw something on LinkedIn recently that really resonated with me. Actually, it wasn't recent. It was like 2 years ago, but I found it again today because it literally left that much of an imprint on me. And what it said is, what?
I said, look at you came prepared. That's awesome.
You know, I do what I can. It said, your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card. There's feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark. And so it just really posed the question to me on, when you think about how you show up in the why, how do you leave others feeling? And hopefully you can answer that question in a way that you feel really good about. And if not, then it might be time to take another look at how we're showing up, because I really do feel with the millennials being 50% of the labor force, and you know, us, because I'm right on the cusp of being a millennial, but that we really are the future leaders in the why. How we show up, people are choosing to follow us into, you know, or to not. And so if you've seen the TED Talk, one of my favorites is How to Start a Movement, Derek Sivers' How to Start a Movement. There's the one guy that's, have you seen it? He's dancing on the hill without a shirt. And then that follower comes and starts dancing on the hill, that like very important first follower. Before you know it, you've got a whole mass of people dancing on the hill. And so how are you showing up and encouraging people to follow, or following yourself?
Tight.
So,
ELRN Nation.
I was just going to say, so if you can ask your question one more time, Shay, and then Carson, if you can plug where people should tweet the answer to their question, and then we'll move on to the next part of this.
So if I had to summarize those several questions that I post back out,
give ELRN Nation like a whole, like a semester's worth of like homework.
Right. They're asking a question like, where's
making sure you're
where's my syllabus? Where do I turn in the assignment? Shay, I'm gonna need you to ask one question. See why I told her to be nice? That's why I told her to be nice, because she be getting deep. Be nice, ask one question. We'll give people a chance to answer, and then we'll move on. Ready? Go.
Well, you see, 70% of learning happens on the job, so I'm just trying to ensure that people have some stretch assignments that they can focus on the job. But the question is, how do you show up in a way that sets an example? How about that? How do you show up at the YMCA in a way that sets an example, a positive example?
Now, for you out there in ELRN Nation that'd like to participate in Shay's challenge or question, please take a second to go to Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, whatever. I don't know. I'm a cusper too. I don't even know what social media is. Go to hashtag ELRN Nation and answer Shay's question. Thank you.
One N. ELRN Nation is all one N. So
yeah, no, we don't have two N's. It's ELRN Nation, like a thing you do. Like
all right. Well,
like tribulation.
Yes, ELRN Nation is all one word. All right, so we're just gonna move on because this is getting out of hand, and get people on their way listening to this. And we got the real. Well, my favorite part of the conversation.
It's that time, Dre.
A drum roll or something, but I won't do it. So, it's time for what we call, us millennials who are on the cusp. We're still millennials, so we'll call it, because you got to hashtag everything. It's called hashtag Real Talk Moment. Now, Shay, is when you get a chance to get deep. You with me? Okay. So you may say to yourself, what in the world is a hashtag Real Talk Moment? Let me tell you. That moment where you say something that you believe in and something that you've learned is actually true from personal experience that might be provocative, especially if it applies to someone who needs a reality check. Sometimes we must hear and come to grips with those things that people are saying. So hashtag Real Talk Moment. Shay, you ready for your hashtag Real Talk question?
Bring it on.
So at this age of millennials, she did say bring it on, and then this is why I said like it's already been brought in or something like that. I did. Okay, it went there.
Can't believe it just went there. Ladies and gentlemen, all trademarks that have been used in this broadcast have not been paid for, so please don't sue us.
Well done. We just quoted a
real talk moment. Right. Here we go.
Real talk moment. This is the age of the millennials, and millennials generally all about bucking the system, doing it our way. You know, those fun labels that come with millennials. We also know what the perception is out there of millennials. We love quick wins. We're the now generation. We can always do it better and quicker, and so on and so forth. In your opinion, Shay, what is the most detrimental thing a young professional in the YMCA can do to extinguish the fire of his or her career before it even gets a chance to truly take off?
The one.
The one.
Okay. Well, I would say the one that comes to mind is really just bypassing the importance of relationships and how those are nurtured and that trust is built over time. So, you know, I can order something on Amazon Prime and it'll be here tomorrow, or I could have, you know, dinner delivered here at work in 10 minutes. And so, you know, I appreciate how quickly some things can happen. But I really think that when it comes to the relationship building part, that's so key to the foundation of accomplishing things at work and building those bridges with the communities that we're serving. But that's not something that can be bypassed or sped up. So it really takes patience and consistency, and that can be hard to do if you're glued to your phone. So, you know, I was watching the Simon Sinek, his thoughts on millennials in the workplace video, and he has some really valid points. I would encourage you to watch it if you haven't, but he talks about the phone as almost like an addiction. And, you know, I'm right there with most millennials or people in general, like just that need to constantly check your phone. And one thing that he said that really resonated with me was, you know, when you're in a meeting and you have 5 minutes before the meeting starts, what happens? People probably typically are on their phones. You know, meeting starting, I'm on my phone, sending emails, texting staff, oh shoot, someone's late. Message does that send to the people that are in the meeting with you? Does it, you know, they're not important? And what would happen if you turned to your staff person next to you and said, hey, no, I heard that your dad's in the hospital. How's he doing? That Simon used, right? And so these real life experiences are happening around us all the time, but we're not always just taking a little bit of a time out from our phones to actually embrace what's right in front of us. And so I would say just really keeping the relationship building and foundation of the why like towards the top so that we can continue to deliver on our cause to strengthen communities.
So if we had to paraphrase, would you say that you should build bridges, not burn them, and then look up from your cell phone so you don't accidentally fall off the edge of one?
That is a wonderful paraphrase. I wouldn't have paraphrased it just like that, but I think you did a fine job with your listen first skills. So building bridges, paying attention to what's in front of you so you don't fall.
This has been so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you appreciate these videos as much as we do, but I hope you do. Oh, look at it. Dude, I gotta put the camera on her. Look what she did.
Nice.
Diversity.
These are my diversity and inclusion glasses, ensuring that all segments of society are welcome and thrive at the YMCA. So we have all the dimensions of diversity on these. Hashtag why for all.
We're so glad we had you today. Andre, you got any parting words of wisdom or thoughts?
You know, I'll just enjoy. I'll subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shay, it's been awesome having you. I love the glasses. It's like a good way to end the conversation, to remind us all that no matter what we do at the end of the day, we got to look through our dig lenses and make sure everything that we do in the YMCA has diversity and inclusion written all over it. So very well done. That wasn't supposed to get deep and serious, but that's truly how I feel, and it felt like the right thing to say in that moment. So thank you, Shay. Appreciate that very subtle and fun reminder of what it means to be part of the Y.
Dope. And on that note, folks, we just want to thank you for taking time to check us out. Like Andre said, subscribe to the channel if you want to see cool new things that are coming up. We're going to start doing this in new places, and we may potentially do one live, one of these days, hopefully, if we can figure out how to work technology. But for myself and my colleague Andre, we'd like to say thank you again for tuning into our cause-driven conversation. We hope to see you whenever we are able to get another one going. That's not true. We have one scheduled. When is it? Because we got some.
We have one scheduled. We have a
great next one scheduled. Actually,
we have one scheduled next Friday on the 26th of May.
So every like week it goes like this, right? And so we just went up a whole new level because we had dig glasses this time. But next week we're gonna have President and CEO of the Boston Y, right? No,
nope, not that one.
I'm not the one who scheduled.
We're gonna keep it a surprise.
All right, we'll keep it a surprise.
We'll know when it's coming.
I do know that one of these days we're gonna have President of Boston YMC.
Yeah, he's coming. One of these times, he'll be here soon.
He'll be here.
The suspense is building.
Anyway, for us here in TV internet land, thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope that you will continue to emerge, be a leader, and stay networked.
Peace.